Once upon a time, there was a wealthy merchant who lived in a large house with his family. Despite having everything he could want materially, the merchant was not happy. He was always worried about his wealth and wanted more and more. One day, the merchant decided to seek out the Buddha to ask him how to find true happiness. The Buddha listened to the merchant's troubles and then asked him to do something unusual. The Buddha asked the merchant to find a mustard seed from a home where no one had ever experienced. The merchant eagerly set out on his quest, confident that he could find such a home quickly. He knocked on doors and asked people if they had ever experienced suffering or loss. But everywhere he went, he found people who had lost loved ones, suffered illnesses, or experienced other forms of pain and hardship. Days turned into weeks, and the merchant grew tired and discouraged. He realized that every home he visited had experienced some form of suffering or loss. Finally, the merchant returned to the Buddha and told him what he had learned. The Buddha nodded and said, "Yes, suffering is a part of life, but it is how we react to it that determines our happiness." The Buddha then went on to explain that all of us experience pain and hardship, but it is possible to find inner peace and happiness through acceptance and mindfulness. The merchant listened carefully to the Buddha's words and realized that true happiness could not be found through wealth and possessions. He began to practice the Buddha's teachings, cultivating mindfulness and compassion in his daily life. Over time, the merchant found that he was able to let go of his worries and fears, and he discovered a deep sense of contentment and joy. He realized that true happiness came from within, and that it was possible to find it even in the midst of suffering. From that day on, the merchant dedicated his life to spreading the Buddha's teachings and helping others find the same peace and happiness that he had discovered.